Welcome back to my YouTube channel, where rare coins meet extraordinary tales, and today's journey takes us deep into the history and mystery of one of the most jaw-dropping discoveries in American numismatics. Imagine finding something so small, yet so valuable, that it alters your entire life. We're diving into the stunning story of a single 1994 quarter dollar, a coin whose value inexplicably skyrocketed to a mind-bending $607 million. Sit back and let yourself get lost in this unbelievable true story woven with rarity, luck, obsession, and hidden secrets that shocked even the most seasoned collectors and historians. It all began in the quiet suburbs of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where a retired Navy engineer named Harold Granger spent his mornings tending to his modest garden and his evenings sorting through coin rolls from the local bank. It had started as a hobby in his youth but blossomed into a calming ritual during his retirement years. Harold was not one to seek riches or glamour. He found joy in the patterns and imperfections, the subtle differences that made certain coins stand out from the rest. In April of 2021, Harold visited the local bank as he had done dozens of times before, withdrawing $100 in quarter rolls. On that particular day, the bank teller smiled at him knowingly and said, "Another treasure hunt, Mr. Granger?" He chuckled and tipped his cap. What neither of them knew was that within one of those rolls lay a coin that would go on to become the single most valuable quarter in history. That night, under the soft yellow light of his study, Harold methodically began his inspection. One by one, he examined each quarter, flipping them, inspecting edges, dates, and mint marks. Then, he paused. The coin in his hand was a 1994 Washington quarter, seemingly ordinary at first glance. But something about the reverse design caught his attention. The eagle's wings were etched with an unusual sharpness, far more intricate than typical issues. Even stranger, under magnification, a barely noticeable inscription appeared above the eagle's head, so small that it could only be seen with a powerful lens. The inscription read, "United Legacy 1789, a phrase number 1994 quarter was ever supposed to bear." Baffled and intrigued, Harold put the coin aside and began researching. Online forums, coin databases, auction records, none mentioned a 1994 quarter with such a marking. By morning, he contacted an old friend, Professor Martin Reeves, a numismatic historian from Temple University. Reeves was skeptical at first, having encountered countless exaggerated claims about rare coins. But upon examining the quarter in person, his expression transformed. Within minutes, he called in two other experts, and a whirlwind of speculation, study, and disbelief began to stir. News of the mysterious quarter spread rapidly through the numismatic community. Coin World ran a special piece titled "Anomaly or Artifact: The 1994 Puzzle," which fueled even more curiosity. Auction houses reached out. Researchers requested access. But Harold, unsure of what he truly held, remained cautious. He permitted only a select few to study the coin, under strict supervision. It was during one of these sessions that the coin's true nature began to surface. A metallurgical analysis revealed the quarter was not made from the standard copper-nickel clad composition. Instead, it contained a rare platinum-gold alloy, something no known U.S. mint coin from that era had ever featured. The composition alone would have made it worth a fortune, but there was more. Far more. A retired mint engraver from Philadelphia, Edwin Lark, contacted Reeves after reading an article. He claimed that in 1993, a small experimental run of coins was proposed by a now-defunct department within the mint. The goal was to test a new anti-counterfeiting design that included micro-inscriptions and alternative metal compositions. However, the project was shut down before production could begin. Officially, Edwin confessed that a handful of prototype dies may have been produced in secrecy, known only to a tight circle of engravers, metallurgists, and project heads. The United Legacy 1789 micro-inscription was one of the proposed features. Edwin remembered designing it himself. According to him, all prototype dies were to be destroyed. If a coin bearing that mark had surfaced, it meant someone had either smuggled a prototype out or, more astonishingly, used a prototype die to strike coins without authorization. Suddenly, the implications were staggering. This 1994 P quarter wasn't just a rare error, it could be the only known surviving artifact from a covert, unauthorized minting operation. It was both a mystery and a breach of U.S. Mint protocol from nearly 3 decades prior. Collectors went wild. Bids from private entities exceeded $50 million within weeks of the story breaking. Offers from shadowy buyers overseas pushed past $200 million. And then, without warning, the coin vanished from public view. Harold had gone silent. For almost a year, there was no word from him, his family, or Professor Reeves. Coin forums speculated everything from abduction to government seizure. Some believed Harold had been paid off to bury the coin. Others thought he'd been scared into hiding. Then, in October 2022, a documentary crew received an anonymous tip directing them to a small safety deposit vault in Savannah, Georgia. Inside was a single 1994 P quarter, wrapped in a handwritten note that read, "This coin belongs to America's forgotten history. Let it speak for itself." The coin was authenticated and matched the original. Harold later gave a statement via his lawyer, revealing he'd hidden it during a wave of aggressive legal threats and personal safety concerns. He hadn't sold the coin. He hadn't fled the country. He'd simply tried to protect something he believed was bigger than himself. By early 2023, an international auction was announced, hosted by Novari and Elmhurst, the most exclusive numismatic auction house in Europe. The coin's estimated starting bid? $150 million. The auction was streamed globally. Over 500 elite collectors and investors registered, including billionaires, sovereign wealth funds, and institutions like the Smithsonian and British Museum. After a tense 2-hour bidding war, the coin was sold to an anonymous buyer for $607 million, setting a new world record for the most expensive coin ever sold in recorded history. But the story didn't end there. Following the auction, investigative journalists began digging into U.S. Mint archives, interviewing retired employees and whistleblowers. Over time, more pieces of the puzzle came to light. The cancelled anti-counterfeiting project had been more expansive than previously thought. In fact, it had a name, Operation Legacy Mint. Internal memos revealed that several prototype designs had been created, including coins with secret markings, alternative alloys, and even embedded chips. The 1994 P quarter found by Harold was just one piece of the larger experiment, an experiment that had been forcibly shut down due to political concerns and budget cuts. Many involved were sworn to secrecy. Some had disappeared from public records entirely. Then, in late 2023, another quarter surfaced in Italy. This one bore a 1995 date and featured a similar micro-inscription, this time reading, "Peace in Union." It too was traced back to the Philadelphia Mint. Speculation exploded that more coins from the covert run were out there, hidden in circulation, forgotten in drawers, or sitting undiscovered in bank rolls just like Harold's had been. The United States Mint issued a formal statement, neither confirming nor denying the existence of Operation Legacy Mint. They called the coin's origins historically ambiguous and claimed no responsibility for actions taken outside approved minting procedures. Collectors took this as a wink and nod, an acknowledgement without consequence. Harold's story became the centerpiece of a best-selling book and an upcoming film adaptation. His humble life, turned upside down by a single coin, captured the imagination of millions. But more than that, it changed the way people looked at pocket change. Across America, and eventually the world, people began examining their coins with newfound curiosity. Coin roll hunting became a cultural phenomenon. Apps were created to help identify anomalies. Television segments featured "What's in Your Pocket?" challenges, and while no coin has yet surpassed the $607 million mark of Harold's legendary 1994 P quarter, a few other mysterious pieces have surfaced, each with their own secrets and stories. Some experts now believe up to 30 prototype coins from Operation Legacy Mint may exist, most still undiscovered. Whether they'll ever be found remains a thrilling unknown, but for now, the 1994 P quarter remains king, a humble piece of metal transformed into a priceless artifact, not by its face value, but by the secrets it carried and the journey it ignited. A coin that reminded the world that sometimes, the most incredible stories are hidden in plain sight, waiting to be found in the most ordinary of places, and with that, we close the chapter on today's incredible tale. Whether you're a lifelong collector or just someone who likes a good mystery, keep your eyes open. You never know what's hiding in your change. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check back for more unbelievable coin stories that are rewriting history one penny, nickel, dime, and quarter at a time. Until next time, keep hunting, keep dreaming, and never underestimate the value of the smallest treasures. Next, 1998 quarter dollar coin, where the tiniest treasures sometimes unlock the greatest legends. Today, we dive into a coin tale so rich, so impossible, and so unbelievable that it nearly slipped through the fingers of history itself. In the quiet pocket of an overlooked town, a humble 1998 quarter dollar emerged from obscurity to claim a place among the most priceless artifacts ever unearthed. This is the story of a coin, just 25 cents by appearance, that defied all expectations and changed lives forever, ultimately selling for a staggering $659 million. But this wasn't just a sale. This was a seismic shift in how we view modern coinage, American history, and the unpredictable value that sometimes hides in plain sight. It began in the town of Abilene, Kansas, a place where dust settled on the front porch like old memories and life ran at the slow, consistent rhythm of honesty and habit. There lived a middle school history teacher named Eliza Kearns. She had a passion for two things: American history and storytelling. Every Friday, she ended class by sharing obscure facts about presidential trivia or oddball historical mishaps, but occasionally, she'd entertain the kids with stories about coin finds, oddities in currency that turned out to be worth fortunes. She never imagined that one day, she would become the center of such a tale herself. In late October of 2023, Eliza was at a local gas station buying a black coffee and a pack of sunflower seeds before heading to school. She paid in cash, received some change, and shoved it into her coat pocket. It wasn't until the next morning, as she washed that coat and checked the pockets, that the coin made itself known. It was a quarter, nothing spectacular at first glance. But it had a 1998 date and bore the Denver Mint mark. Something about its coloration struck her. It had a strange shimmer, unlike the rest of the change. The metal seemed warmer, somehow. Polished but not worn. The eagle on the reverse appeared slightly different, more dynamic, with a tail feather pattern she didn't recognize. Thinking it was just a minting error or maybe her eyes playing tricks on her, she tossed the coin onto her nightstand and forgot about it for a week. That Friday, she took it to class for one of her storytelling sessions, jokingly calling it the lucky coin that bought her bad coffee. Her students passed it around, noting the strange luster and faint lines beneath the eagle's wings that didn't quite match any textbook photos. A quiet 8th grader named Marcus noticed what looked like the outline of an unfamiliar symbol near the talons. He pointed it out. When Eliza examined it closely, under her classroom's magnifying loupe, her heart skipped a beat. There was something there, like a faint, nearly invisible emblem. Not damage. Not corrosion. A design. Something official, yet alien to the quarter's typical features. Intrigued, she spent that weekend researching everything she could find about 1998 quarters. She scoured collector forums, minting databases, error coin registries, and eBay listings. Nothing came close to matching what she held. She called in a favor from an old college friend, Darren Witt, now working at the National Numismatic Archive in Denver. Darren was skeptical, but agreed to look at it. A week later, Eliza made the 4-hour drive to Denver, clutching the coin in a velvet pouch she'd found in an old jewelry box. The moment Darren saw it under proper lighting and magnification, he turned pale. Then, he said nothing for a full minute. Finally, he whispered, "Where did you get this?" What followed was a whirlwind of analysis, tests, and escalating tension. The coin wasn't just unusual. It was, by all measurable accounts, impossible. Darren's lab conducted metallurgical testing, revealing that the coin was composed of a never-before-seen combination of palladium, titanium, and trace amounts of an isotope commonly used in advanced military-grade applications. This alone was enough to deem it a national mystery. But what really unraveled the boundaries of reality was the embedded micro-inscription on the reverse, an almost invisible line that read, Novus Initium 73a. Translated from Latin, it meant, a new beginning. Over the next few weeks, word leaked into the numismatic community. Speculation ran rampant. Was this a secret prototype? A classified minting experiment? Or something more sinister? As experts puzzled over the coin, more anomalies were discovered. The edge contained tiny ridges not found on any other quarter. UV light revealed a faint map etched inside the eagle's wingspan, believed to outline a portion of the Nevada desert. And, strangest of all, when subjected to acoustic resonance tests, the coin produced a unique frequency signature, one that matched no other known metallic object in any database worldwide. What came next was a storm. First came the collectors. High-end private bidders from Monaco, Tokyo, Zurich. Then came the institutions, the Smithsonian, the British Museum, even the Vatican archives submitted inquiries. And then came the people no one could identify. Encrypted messages, anonymous calls, offers that went beyond currency into the realm of control. One shadowy representative allegedly offered to erase Eliza's debt, pay for her children's education, though she had no children, and fund her career indefinitely if she handed over the coin, no questions asked. She refused. Instead, she authorized a secure auction, to be hosted in a confidential location under international supervision. The terms were strict. No identification of buyers. No publicity until after the sale. Security was tighter than a nuclear summit. At the auction, 22 bidders entered the room. Only one walked away victorious, paying a mind-blowing $659 million for the quarter. Immediately, conspiracy theories exploded. Some claimed the coin had been a test object for a top-secret technology program involving nanosurveillance. Others believed it was a piece of projected currency, a concept theorized by futurists in the 80s about smart money embedded with encrypted data and traceable frequency codes. One former Department of Defense analyst went on record saying the frequency emitted by the quarter matched the early blueprints of an experimental beacon device designed in the mid-1990s. She was later found dead under suspicious circumstances. As chaos swirled, Eliza retreated into quiet anonymity, disappearing from the public eye. For 6 months, she was unreachable. Her house was sold. Her email accounts were deactivated. It was widely believed that she had vanished for her safety. But then, one foggy morning in July 2024, a handwritten letter arrived at a Kansas news station, postmarked from Portugal. It was from Eliza. She simply wrote, "I made peace with what I found. Some truths don't need to be told, they just need to be respected." That letter reignited global curiosity. Coin enthusiasts began searching relentlessly through every 1998 quarter they could find. Banks reported shortages. Coin roll sales spiked. App developers built AI-driven scanners. YouTube channels emerged dedicated to nothing but 1998 quarter hunts. Yet no other example surfaced. It seemed that Eliza's coin was the only one, or the only one that ever wanted to be found. In 2025, an investigative journalist from France published an exposé claiming to have traced the quarter's origins to a mysterious mint batch labeled Code Echo Phase, buried in the mint's forgotten archives. The journalist included photocopied memos referencing a 1998 initiative to create prototype currency embedded with encrypted geographic data as part of an emergency continuity of government contingency plan. The program was terminated, but at least one coin escaped destruction. Eliza's. To this day, no official confirmation has been issued. The U.S. Treasury refuses to comment. The coin remains locked in an undisclosed location under the ownership of a buyer known only as the archivist. Theories continue to swirl, some outlandish, others frighteningly plausible. What began as a pocketful of change ended as a $659 million enigma. And it stands now as a monument to curiosity, to hidden layers beneath the obvious, and to the idea that value isn't always measured in face value. Sometimes, It's measured in what we're willing to believe. So next time you get your change at the store or dump out the contents of your couch cushions, remember this story. Somewhere, in the flow of billions of circulating coins, might lie something extraordinary, waiting to be seen, understood, and maybe even feared. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you again soon with more tales from the hidden corners of history, where small things cast giant shadows. Until then, stay curious and keep looking. You never know what you'll find.